Are you guys aware that Tom and Jerry series are not available because they're very racist?
Tom and Jerry's racist? Like towards mice?
No. Like they have bits where it's like do like slavery things or like Nazi things or like things like that where it's
Yeah.
like they take parts of history and they make a cartoon out of it.
Right.
It can be perceived as like
Hmm.
you can't show this in a cartoon for children, even though like why are you showing a cat trying to torture a mouse? But, you know, details. Circle of Life, kids. You don't need the Lion King. Just watch Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
Let's get back to the show. Really going to switch things up a bit. So, best YouTube rabbit hole that I went down
boy.
this year. Yeah. It started because I was trying to find a good method to polish my dress shoes. And wow, there is a whole world in just like shoe restoration, care. Like I watched this one, and then there's like, so you got like dress shoes, but you also have like boots. These are mostly just on men's shoes. I'm pretty sure there's an equivalent for women's shoes, but like boots themselves, like they would have like how they resole the boot, you know, and you have like the Goodyear welt to kind of hold it on. And like if you have a Goodyear welt on your boot, it could be easily resoled by a cobbler. Just, you know, keep note of that. And yeah, just like how they would take like these boots that are from like 60 years old. They like definitely seen better days. And they would just restore this thing and breathe new life into it. I'm like, this is just amazing. It's just an amazing thing to watch. Just these restoration. It's like a 45-minute YouTube video. There's a few of them. There's Trenton and Heath. They kind of restore a lot of these boots. They're cobblers by trade. Another one's Rose Anvil. If you're ever buying boots, this is a good channel to check out. He would cut the boot in half, and he would show you what the sole is made out of. And you would kind of go through it and be like, well, you know, here's like this type of foam here is kind of cheap. It's going to break down, blah, blah, blah. Or this is really good. Or this is actually genuine welt on the shoe, so you can actually get it recobbled once the sole wears out. Yeah, very good channel. And then another one on the dress shoe side is Elegant Oxford. Basically, it's just a guy who he just has a passion for polishing shoes, and it's amazing the kind of things you could do with shoe polish. Yeah, it's yeah, and just polishing your shoes is oddly one of the most calming things to do. It's like a meditation. Yeah,
I want to hear what his elevator pitch sounds like.
Yeah. It's
plan.
I just wanted to go just buy a bunch of old dress shoes just to polish them up after watching that. Yeah.
Definitely sounds like a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, it is for sure. That was at least like a week of my life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
yeah.
It's got like a classic feel to it. Like you feel like you're tapping into like nostalgia by polishing
Yeah.
shoes or like a part of history, or I don't know if I'm expressing this right, but it feels classic to polish your your shoes.
Yeah. And that guy that cuts them in half, he also cuts in half like popular shoes too. Like popular Nike shoes, Adidas,
wow.
Balenciaga,
Oof.
like all these like
That's
big
gonna-
like $400, $500, $1,000 shoes that you could buy. And he would
Wow.
cut them in half too.
Damn.
Does he get them?
And
for
some of
free
them
or
are kind of
something?
surprising. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he's getting them because that's kind of expensive operation. But yeah, I think some of them the manufacturers do send to him just to get the review.
Okay. Interesting.
Raisies apps must have apps
All right.
or
And the award goes to
underrated apps that we usually don't really care about. Which is the notes pad.
The notepad must have app.
Like, how many of us use it to its full?
I do a lot. Yeah,
I do.
Oh, I all the
I'm a
time.
big-
Yeah,
I'm a big notepad guy.
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. Love the notepad.
I have like
Yeah,
Yeah.
different categories.
Yeah,
Yep.
like it's amazing. Like, you know, I used to use it, but I wasn't really using it to its full potential until I discovered all these things I could do with it. Like, you know, like you can use it as a to-do list where you have the check, you know, marks that you can check mark as you go through your to-do list. Grocery list, of course. it could be a calendar if you want. You can jot random notes to it. I usually when I'm coding, I would use it as a way to copy and paste codes, and then I can always retrieve it.
Yeah.
Or if you're texting something to a ton of people, just text it in there, and then like you just copy and paste, change the name, stuff like that. It could be for letters if you're writing a letter. And then one really cool feature is you can add tags, which you can use it for filter. I think it's a modern feature that they recently added, which I think that's pretty much the reason why I started using it even more. So you can just go in and find things using tags. Yeah, love it.
And notepad.
That's the most practical word that we've given out tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very practical. Yeah.
How to improve your life.
It's like one of those apps that if you're not careful, it just becomes the apps that you hardly use.
You're right. For me, it's very much a habit. Especially I'm a to-do list guy.
Yeah.
And I used to do the yellow sticky notes.
Oh,
and it just
yeah,
got
that
messy.
one.
But then I don't know, my 2 phones ago, I was like, what's this notes app? And I just started, organizing my thoughts on there, my grocery list, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just became a habit. I think it's helped me.
Yeah. I even get clients who would send a brochure that they did in 1995, and it's a PDF.
Right.
You can't even copy and paste.
Yeah.
Right. And on this app, you can basically scan with the RTC code, and then actually copy, the text from the PDF. Or the picture, and then you can bring it to, the notes, and actually organize it. So you don't have to go and retype everything.
Right. So practical.
It's amazing.
Technology is your friend.
Yeah. And then you can even tag people on it. So say, for instance, you're going grocery shopping and your wife is not home or whatever, you can just be like, hey, can you add your list of things you need onto the list? Mm-hmm. And then the two of you have it, and you can just check mark as you go. Amazing.
Getting things done. Amazing indeed. I'm going to call this the greatest easy book to read award. The Raisies goes to, the book is called On This Day in History, Shit Went Down. It's by James Fell. So it's not technically, a book. It is a book, but every page has a different, mini story / fact about history. So it's like October 22nd. On this day, Hitler lost his mind by doing this shit. and it's interesting. It's, you could write 15 versions of this. He's got 2 parts, right? But he's got a very he cusses a lot. And I don't like when authors use swear words too much because it kind of loses its effect, right? But he's got a very witty style to his writing. It's very pure. I'll use that word. It reminds me of, there's this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That one's by Mark Manson. I forget his name, but it's a similar style where he's using the swear words to sort of, extensiate the essence of what he's trying to say. I'm making up words now, but it's good because it's just, it's 1 page, and it's entertaining. It gives you some knowledge about history. You don't have to read the whole thing. Just one page a day kind of puts you in a good mood. It gives you some, some general knowledge to work with, and go about your day.
I have to get this book.
It's a good
My
one.
next category is, how is this even happening? But even then, I'm not even surprised. Moments. So this is Boris Johnson was ousted as prime minister, but then the prime minister that succeeded him, Truss, she was only in office for a month, I guess. And then Boris Johnson ended up becoming the front runner for prime minister a month after being ousted as PM. And it was only because the successor was actually less competent than he was as prime minister of England. Fortunately, they realized that there was obviously a less scandalous politician that they could put in office. All politicians are scandalous. And now they have Rishi Sunak, who I guess apparently shortly after going into office, he himself had his own scandals. My heart goes out to the British people and their political woes because they're 2 years away from an election and they've already had 3 prime ministers in one term, which is insane. Damn. I don't know why the king doesn't just step in and just you know what, you need to call an election today. This is getting out of control.
It's because they have so many political parties. Right? I mean, that's the other part of having too many parties, I guess. Like in the States, it's just 2. Canada, we have like 3, really. Britain, they have like 16. But
yeah,
democracy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think more is better than less, but definitely too much is
comes with its own problems.
Too. Don't they have more in the US? Like, it's just like we don't.
Yeah, they just don't get elected. Yeah. There's like the Libertarian Party. There's the Green Party. They do get some votes, but I think part of it's the media's fault. Like, they don't give credit, or they don't even talk about the other 2 candidates from the other 2 second tier parties. It's always like red state, blue state, purple state. I think if they kind of acknowledged more of the political landscape, then you're kind of acknowledging more views that exist in the room and not just these 2 political parties that exist. Because America has more political parties.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And they really,
It makes it difficult because these politicians have to like pander to the whole party, but the party, so it's either Republicans or Democrats, but the party's got a wide spectrum, right? You got your crazies that are extremes, and you got the moderates, somewhere in between. You got the centrists. So at the end of the day, you kind of like, let's say you're someone who's more in the middle. I think most people are in the middle. 80% of us are like, we kind of lean one way on one issue a little bit, maybe somewhere on the other side. And then 10% is just nutty people. It's even 10% of 300 million is a lot of people, right? But for the most part, ignore those crazies. Forget my point here, but essentially you can't reflect how a country feels realistically with just 2 parties. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, democracy is more than just 2 parties. Even the founding fathers believed that parties would be the downfall of democracy. So
they knew.
Maybe they were onto something.
They had a hunch. Okay, back to TV shows. The next Raisy goes to the best trash show of the year. It goes to Love is Blind. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's such a car wreck, train crash, but you can't look away. You got to watch it. So the concept, it's like a social experiment where, they put a bunch of single people in pods and they don't see each other, but they just talk. And, is love blind? They see if their personalities match or whatever the hell. And then eventually they propose to each other, and then they meet, and then they get to live with each other, in the physical form. And, they force them to get married in like a month. It just doesn't make sense. But the whole thing is, it's got the typical Bachelor-style drama, and, some of it seems scripted, but is it really? And it's just forced reality TV. But it's...
You know a lot about this show, yeah.
I've seen 2 seasons, and I did it to myself, really.
You willingly watched it?
This. I will. Well, the wife got intrigued and got me into it, but I went for it. Or I might have watched the first season and got her intrigued. I forget what order it was in, but I'm not ashamed of it, and also I am.
I'm trying to picture him with a basketball in one hand and then his wife on the other hand.
watching this show. Shouting Kobe.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it's a car crash.
Yeah, like it's like a car crash. You just can't look away. Like,
I think it makes you feel better about your life.
I think so. Yeah, I was staying at a hotel, and you just turn the TV on and it's whatever the last person in the room left the TV on at, and it was like TLC, I don't know what the channel was, and it was My Big Fat Fabulous Life. And so there's this larger woman, and it's basically like her and all her friends on this like I think they're in Dominican Republic or something like that, or Costa Rica, and she has like her ex-boyfriend there, but then she's like flirting with like this French local guy, and it's like I'm like, wow. And then she's just like so like she's so just mean to people, but then she wonders why people don't like why, and you just can't even look away. I'm just so confused watching this thing and trying to figure out like what's like why is she doing this. And then she has a personal trainer, but like you never seen them training or doing anything physical activity. It's just she's just more of like a commenting on her personal life the whole time, and then the whole time I'm sitting there thinking like, how is she paying for this whole thing? Yeah, there's just so many questions, and I guess that's how they get you. You just get hooked in. You're just like wondering how this whole thing even just ends, and you have to watch to the end to realize that you just wasted like a lot of time.
Like, why did I do this?
Yeah, why?
Probably
I feel with so much regret right now.
I don't know. You just decompress with nonsense.
Yeah,
that's another explanation.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So my next Raisy goes to the best argument no one can quite argue, and that goes to inflation. Everyone claims to be an expert on inflation until they need to define it. And over the last year that we had, apparently everyone's inflation. Okay, define inflation. I don't know. Things go up. Prices are up.
Things go
but
up.
Why?
Things go down.
Why? Why is it inflation? I don't know. Russia.
Well, Joe Biden
Russia.
fixed things.
Oh, it's the left. It's the right. It's the up. It's the down. Like, gosh. And then you go to like someone who's like in business or an economist, and they ask them, they're like, I don't know.
I like how in on the news they always bring the expert.
Yeah. And he's trying to explain it, and he just like fumbles the answer. Yeah.
There's a funny meme. It's like, and just like that, everyone went from an infectious disease expert to an economist.
Yeah. I know what inflation is. I watched the 10-minute video from CNN.
I'll argue with you passionately for some reason.
Actually, you know what would be an amazing game show is you take people who are just not an expert on something, and then you just give them a computer with like just internet access, and then they're just expected to just like within 5 minutes just Google something and then just go off and argue it.
Oh, that's actually a good concept. That should be in a pitch meetings episode.
Yeah, that should be
that's a great idea.
Teaser for our pitch meetings episodes. Yeah,
I'd watch the hell out of that. It's like I think I've talked about this in one of our earlier podcast episodes. The show Middle Ground, where it's like, two groups it's like 3 people from one side of an argument and 3 people from a different side of an argument. So like whatever, is abortion good? And then they'll ask them questions on the topic, and do you agree that human life starts at ejaculation? People will walk to the chair, and they'll debate it. But obviously, like, they come from different walks of life. I like Alex's idea a little bit better, where you feed them the information 5 minutes before, and they have to figure it out.
Yeah, and then they have to argue with an actual expert. Yeah, and then the audience has to vote on who is the expert. Yeah.
Interesting.
So they're all dressed up like experts, and then you would have 3 people who are non-expert, and then maybe 1 expert, and you have to guess who the expert is based upon the information. And the audience is just as clueless as the people who are faking it.
Sold.
Yeah.
That's your elevator pitch right there.
I can
how do
see.
we make money off this?
I can see this really working, where you walk around with a mic and a camera, and then the person they already had their phone with them, so you ask the question and they can text it, search for it.
And you could do like Price is Right style, where you just pull them from the audience. So anybody from the audience will just end up being these fake experts, right? Mm-hmm. Or no, because then the audience would kind of know because they would see each other. Now you can't do that. Okay. Yeah. So
it's getting too complicated now.
Yeah. No, but this is.
So you have to.
You get it. You get it.
You could do it on the street, like you walk up to.
Yeah, you
random
pull them
people
from the street. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I see. What
And
you're
they would just be asked to like explain certain things, like I don't know, like you would be talking
Inflation.
about like inflation. You know, should we raise taxes on property taxes? And they would have to argue it. You know, the pro con whatever. Yeah, they have 5 minutes to research the subject.
Yeah, you'd be like,
Yeah,
okay,
I would
we
watch that
got an
show.
expert. We got an expert on the line, and then you give them the phone, and then they argue.
Yeah, it's just people. It's just basically like if Twitter was a game show. The comment section
Real
of
life
Twitter. Real life Twitter comment section as a game show with a prize at the end. So finally, arguing has an outcome.
There's a video on YouTube called "How to Argue."
Interesting.
It's actually a positive video though. It's not like how to argue to win. It's pretty much like being able to understand the other person.
Yeah, you find their weakness and you go for the jugular.
You go full U.S. redeem team on people.
You play to win. That's what you do.
You go in with no agenda, and then whatever the other person is saying, you go the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
also good
disagree.
marriage advice too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, whenever you're in a fight with your partner, you play to win.
Toughen up, Buttercup.
Yeah,
Next
and make sure you
phrase.
throw in a few. You're just like your mother in there. You know?
You go for the psychological traumas.
Disarm her, and that's when you throw in the left hand.
Man, we're getting canceled for sure. For sure. We've offended many people in this episode. Okay, let's bring it full circle with the last two awards. It's best new show you have to see in 2022 and best old show you have to see in 2022. But let's go with the new show, Severance.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on Netflix. I think it's on Apple TV. It's with
Apple
Adam
TV.
Scott, Patricia Arquette. Great show. So it's essentially this biotech company, and it hires people to sever their memory. So it's you have innies and outies. So people who work on the inside of the corporation, they can't remember their life outside of their work. And then people who, like, when they finish their 9 to 5 or whatever it is, they go home and they can't remember what they're doing inside their work life. So they separate work and life. So get new meaning to work-life balance, that's for sure. But I don't know, it tackles interesting ideas. Like, would you do that? Would you separate your work memories? But then there's like ethical aspects of it, like, you know, the person who's working, that's their whole life, they're just working. So it adds that different, you know, philosophical theme to it. But definitely a good show.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you get into like corporate corruption and all those classic themes. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen
and
that one.
I had a discussion with my brother about this, and it's pretty much we do that anyways, regardless. You know, you go to work, and then there's certain things you want to leave at work, and you come home,
Yeah.
and you just want to focus on home stuff, your work life, which might be different from your home life. The way you speak at work might be different from the way you speak at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And it works the other way too, from what you said, where you leave your home life and you go to work to forget about your personal life or
Right.
whatever. Right. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. The show takes it to the the extreme, obviously.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
I just want to add one Raisies to my list.
Yeah, go for it.
It's not on my list right now, but as Mike, you were talking, this came to my mind. This Raisies goes to movies that are very emotional. Like it gets you to be like, man, I'll do this for my boys. The Apple TV's greatest beer run ever.
Is this a show or a movie?
It's a movie. Yeah.
Oh.
Greatest beer run ever. Is this a new movie?
It's a new movie. It's Zac Efron, I think his name is.
Okay.
Um,
Greatest beer run
and
ever.
it's actually an based on history, on during the war in Vietnam, and all the hippies were protesting against the war, and but then he sees it as he needs to support his friends who were abroad fighting for the war. So he decides to
Right.
go and give them all beers as a sign of like, we're home or we're backing you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. It's a comedy, drama,
Right.
war film.
Yeah.
3 different genres in one.
Yeah.
Biographical too.
It's well shot. Like the cinematography is amazing. The acting
Cool.
is on point. And then how it actually makes you emotional. Like, it's like your friend comes to visit you. And you're like trying to protect your friend because it's like, you're going to get yourself killed. kind of, And then,
Yeah.
but then it's like, are you just going to leave your friends in, and not show some kind of love? And then there's some friends who you meet who have changed mentally. Yeah, it's a great show. Like I had some tears coming down watching that movie. It was a great show.
Damn. Sold.
Movie,
I haven't seen
yeah.
it. Movie.
Movie.
Yeah, directed by the Farrelly brothers. I'm a fan of theirs. So, all right, I gotta check that out. But why is it called Beer? The Greatest Beer Run?
Yeah. So
Or
he
don't-
basically what
maybe
he
don't
did
spoil it.
was he brought beer from America to
Mhm.
Vietnam, and it's
Oh, okay.
it's stupid because they have beer in Vietnam, like, but his sign was, but they don't have this type of beer. It's just it's an IPA.
Oh, of course, it's
They
an
don't have-
IPA. Yeah.
They don't have American beer.
Is he a hipster? Hey man, you go try this IPA.
There were no hipsters in the 60s.
Yeah, that's true.
70s. When was Vietnam?
That was pre-hipster.
Somebody correct my history knowledge. When was the Vietnam?
60s, 70s.
67. Okay, I was right. Woohoo.
Yeah, it was a pretty long war.
Yep. Ended in 75.
Messy war. And that one too, there's again, this is also architecture. There all these hotels in different parts of the world, which played a very important role for journalists who were broadcasting what is happening in those towns or cities. So there's a YouTube video on hotels. I don't remember the name, but there's a YouTube video which shows hotels that got bombed a lot, and you're like, why? And that's because there are lots of journalists that lived in these places. And in this movie,
Whoa.
they showcased one of the hotels in. They basically had the front row seat to what was happening in Vietnam at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good Vietnam War movies. Apocalypse Now, great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Although that's
Full
based
Metal
on
Jacket, Platoon.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Anyway. Yeah, good stuff. Last Raisy. We'll call it the best old show you have to see in 2022. Some more lighthearted content here. Everybody Loves Raymond. I watched it recently.
Oh,
Went on
really?
a binge with the missus. Listen, I'm a fan. I think it's got.
No, that's a controversial pick for a Raisy. I don't know about that one.
It's my Raisy. I'll call it the.
No.
I think it still holds up. Even though they don't. I mean, technology, they tap into like the late '90s cell phones, but the show started in. The show started in the late 90s and then kept going in the early 2000s. It has the relatable family dynamics that are true to every culture. I don't care where you come from. You got the in-laws.
Yeah.
You got the sibling rivalries. You got the parent-child frustrations. At one point, like if you look at the background of the cast, the writers were asking cast members and anyone who was working on the show to bring stories from their personal lives and put it on in the writing on the show. I'm a big Ray Romano fan. Brad Garrett's awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Might be boring, but it's my pick.
Question though, is it the reason why there's everybody hates Chris?
I think it was a play on it,
Okay.
but I know Chris Rock is friends with Ray Romano, but it's not directly. You know?
Right.
It's just like, you know what? This works too.
Yeah, I think that's definitely gonna be a controversial pick. I
We'll
think
get the-
Entertainment Tonight is going to be all over that.
This is
We'll
the
ask our-
time Alex
Yeah, this is the
gets on
controversy
stage
from our award
and
show.
Will Smith slaps.
Yeah, this is our Will Smith slap.
This is Alex's. I'm gonna let you finish in a moment, but Beyonce had the best album.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I'm Taylor Swift.
Steal the mic away from you. Like, no. The best old show you got to watch is Seinfeld. Okay, like none of this Everybody Loves Raymond stuff.
Seinfeld's
Seinfeld.
cliche, though. Everybody likes Seinfeld. I don't think Seinfeld holds up from a technology standpoint. Cringy from that perspective, but
No, the comedy holds up though. The comedy is
Comedy
like within everyday life. Like Festivus is an actual celebration for people.
it's a show about nothing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come in with Fraser.
Hey,
Eh,
curveball.
I mean,
Why Frasier?
I don't know.
I'm curious. I've never seen Frasier. So
Oh,
I'm curious.
yeah,
I hear good things.
It's kind of like well, I mean, Cheers, Fraser.
Wasn't Frasier a character from?
Yeah, he
Cheers?
was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after the show ends, he moves to Seattle, and then that's when Frasier starts.
Oh, so it's supposed to be a continuation of him moving
Yeah,
to.
yeah. So
Oh.
Cheers, this show ends, and then he moves from Boston to Seattle.
It's a
And
spin-off.
then that's when the
It's a spin-off.
Frasier TV show starts. So it has like that continuity across it.
Mm.
Cool.
But I don't know. Like it's just like this. I don't know. Just rich therapist who just sucks at dating.
Oh,
I don't know,
it's
just nothing-
amazing.
Yeah,
Alex
I
is
don't know.
picky with his TV shows.
This is-
He doesn't settle
Yeah.
for just any picks.
You know, the TV
I
show
don't know,
that
I just-
basically was my 101 education on how America is supposed to look like.
Ooh, can I guess?
Oh, that's
Yes.
interesting. Yeah,
Is it famous?
It's
Like,
big.
It's well known.
It's big.
It's a big show.
like The Simpsons.
How America.
Wait, oh, Mike, you said what?
I was gonna say Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yes, I mean both. There are two of them. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Fresh Prince
Okay.
and the Cosbys.
Oh, the Cosbys. Okay.
The Cosbys.
The Huxtable
Yeah.
family.
That definitely
That was
does
ahead
not
of
get a
its
Raisy.
No. Hold on now. Bill Cosby was a horrible man. He's still alive.
Horrible
right? He's a
man.
horrible man.
Yeah,
But he had some entertaining things. I don't know.
yeah. I was actually looking at this one list from Rolling Stone, 50 best stand-up comedians of all time. And I think in their top 5, they actually put Bill Cosby, and they
Interesting.
were like, hold on. They're like, even in like the rationale, they're like, hold on. We know that what he's done. However, without Cosby, you don't get all of these other great
Yeah.
comedians. He set the tone for a lot of comedy. He moved comedy in a certain direction. So you kind of have to
Influential.
separate the craft from the person.
It's like
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He
Just like Michael
allegedly
Jackson.
did terrible things.
I'm really
Yeah.
big.
Well, I mean, he
I'm
was
really-
never
tripping.
convicted of that, right? Wasn't
It's
he?
true. Allegedly.
Yeah,
but-
I'm really
Allegedly.
big on like separating, the man from the craft, because
Yep.
if we,
Kanye.
yeah, because we would be left with two people on stage. Like if we're to really dig deep on like people's like hidden secrets and things they do
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
It's true.
Yeah.
You should see Alex's hidden things.
Would like separate me from my craft? I don't know. I don't know.
Joke attempt. You gotta try, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think we ended the podcast, the Raisies, on a highly controversial note.
Yes. a disagreement.
Yeah. First, Everybody Loves Raymond actually getting an award above Seinfeld. Questionable. And then Frasier even being a nominee for that category. And then we go into, Cosby territory.
Let the haters hate.
Yeah,
This will stir up.
And that's how we got canceled.
yeah, we'll have,
Everybody loves Raymond.
this will
That's
annoy
what
all of 5 people.